Oftentimes, we see those national reporters cover those huge moments in history. And today, we have the privilege of speaking with someone who is integral into shaping how that history is told. I have the privilege of speaking with Nikole Killion of CBS News. Thank you so much for joining us.
My pleasure.
So you are a familiar face on Capitol Hill to so many people across the country. How do you prepare for those big moments?
I don't know that you can prepare anymore, right? Because we're living in such an unpredictable environment. But obviously, many people say Capitol Hill is one of the best beats in Washington, and one of the reasons why is because you have access in a way that you don't in other parts of Washington. I can just walk up to a lawmaker at any given time and ask them a question. Now, whether or not they answer or not remains to be seen, but it starts with that, right? Just going back to that traditional shoe leather reporting, going after the answers, holding truth to power. And at an institution like Capitol Hill and Congress, there are 535 ways to do that.
And if you've ever been to Washington, D.C., and you've seen the Capitol building or you've been to the White House, it can be kind of daunting, especially when you are empowered to speak truth to power, when you are empowered to tell stories with authenticity. Sometimes that can be a challenge for especially those younger reporters. How did you find your voice in this industry?
Well, I think it's important to know who you are. I mean, yes, you're a journalist, but that is not what defines you. It's what's inside, right? So you have to start there and have that sense of confidence so that you can walk up to a lawmaker, so that you could walk up to the President of the United States even and ask that really direct and pointed question when the time comes.
What advice would you give to young people, either in the government sector or in journalism, as far as speaking truth to power again in those high impact moments? How do you continue to do that day after day, especially considering our social climate?
Well, I think it's knowing your history, right? But also doing your research so that you are asking the right questions in the right moment. Otherwise, you could potentially get called out, but really having that fundamental understanding of, again, your history, the moment, the politics of the situation, so that you can not only ask an informed question, but also hopefully get an informed response to the audience.
How do you recover, if you ever have one of those moments?
I mean, it's a good point. Look, self-care is really important in this industry now more than ever. I think a lot of journalists at this point are really going on fumes. And every day we're having to, guzzle down this fire hose of news. So it can be exhausting, and it is important to take care of yourself and to take a beat and to recover, take a day off when you can, which is tough, when you're constantly trying to keep up with the headlines, especially in this era of social media where we're just constantly being bombarded with information. So taking that time to recenter, to refocus so that you don't get burned out is critical.
It was so good to meet you. Thank you so much for speaking with us.
My pleasure.